What is this? Can you guys hear me? All right.
All right, Jonathan.
Hey, yeah. Okay, do it or don't do it. You know, what is this in between? Did you just say that? That's Mr. Miyagi, right? He's like, on the road, off the road, it's middle of the road, you get squashed like a grape. You either clap or don't clap. No, I'm just kidding. All right, my name is Jonathan Hutchins. I am not the middle school youth pastor. I thought I was, but to be a pastor of any kind, you need to be ordained, and I am certainly not ordained. So I guess I am the middle school guy, for a lack of a better word. So I'm the middle school guy, and if you guys have seen me up here before, I've been up here a couple times before, and I'm a little emotional, and it happens. But in order to prep for that today, I watched the Up love story, which is the most beautiful love story I've ever seen animated in my life. And I cried so much this morning. So I feel like I've done my part to empty myself to get up here, you know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. No, but I like keeping it brief. You don't have middle schoolers' attention for very long, so I do real short sermons, which means I have time for a joke. Because there's this one joke that I've always wanted to tell, but I needed the right audience for it. And it's just it was always a dream of mine. If I was ever a pastor, I get to tell this joke. Because, do you guys want to hear this joke? Yeah, okay, good, okay, just want to make sure. All right, but I grew up in a Baptist church, and there was Pastor Dick. And Pastor Dick, he had this incredible way of just weaving jokes into every one of his sermons, and they always moved the ball forward. It was a gift, for sure. I'm not going to do that. This joke has nothing to do with my sermon. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. Just listen to it, laugh, and then we're going to get into a really serious sermon. So let's just start fun, okay? So here's how it starts out. There's a Baptist man, let's call him Baptist John. Not John the Baptist, he's a Baptist man named John. And Baptist John is on a boat, and the boat goes down, and he swims ashore to this island, and there's no one on the island, and he's alone, all by himself. Many years pass, and a rescue boat comes, and they see his smoke signals in the sky, and they come over. He goes, hello, and he welcomes them onto the island, and they're like, let's go. And he's like, whoa, hold up. I have a life here. Do you guys want to see the little life that I've made for myself? And the rescuers are like, yeah, okay, Pastor John the Baptist, Baptist John, we'll check it out. And so he goes around and he shows them the little house that he's made, and he shows them the little farm that he has set up and the irrigation system he's got going. He's like, the toilet's over there. We don't need to look at that. That's gross. And then he goes over and he has this little hut with a little top and a cross on the top. He goes, this is my church. It's funny, I know. I go to church every week by myself, but I've been keeping track of the stars. I know when it's Sunday, and I go to church every single Sunday. And it's like, John the Baptist, this place is awesome. Let's get out of here. And as they're getting on the boat, one of the rescuers, they spy this other structure a ways down the beach. They're like, whoa. Hey, Baptist John, what is that structure over there? And he's like, which one? Oh, God. That's where I used to go to church. Great. Because where I grew up in North Carolina, there's 20,000 people in this county, and there's 225 churches. And you bounced around about every 5 years. You would just go to a different church. It was great. It was a great way to live. Okay, that is a joke. You guys ready for a sermon? Let's do a sermon. All right. I wanted to soften you up because what I'm talking about today is sacrifice, and it's a tough topic. And that is why, do you guys know what these are? These are steel-toed boots, because as I've been doing this sermon has been stepping on my toes hard, and I wish you guys all had a pair of steel-toed boots. So we've been in this series, it's talking about the rhythms. And these rhythms, they make a lot of sense, right? It's like conventional wisdom, we understand the reason to make it a rhythm to go and be alone with God, right? He is able to recenter your heart. He's able to speak to you. It makes sense why we get in this rhythm of having regular alone time with God. It makes sense why we get in this rhythm of, community, where you surround yourself with Christian brothers and sisters. Iron sharpens iron. We understand all that. The gathering, we understand why it's important to come together, hear someone teach, praise and worship with each other. But as far as a rhythm of sacrifice, sounds a little different, right? Because I don't know for you, but when I think of sacrifice, that's top shelf Christian action, right? When you, if I'm gonna sacrifice, I better have a pretty good day before I start sacrificing. You know, I wake up early in the morning and I eat my Wheaties and it's a great day at work. My boss compliments me. I come home, I have energy to spare. I see the dirty dishes and I'm like, you know what? I am well equipped to take one for the team. I'm gonna sacrifice and do these dishes. It's almost like this thing where you sacrifice out of affluence. That's the first thing you can write down, right? It's this notion that it's like, I need to be in a good place before I can pour myself out for anyone else, right? And that's a fair amount of conventional wisdom to that, right? It's like on an airplane when the cabin pressure gets low and those masks pop down and they're like, be sure to put it on for yourself before you put it on for someone else. And that makes sense, right? Because you're no good to anyone if you're passed out and dying and the kid can't reach the mask anyway. It's like, put it on yourself first, then help someone who needs help, right? It's this idea that you sacrifice out of affluence because you need to have something to give something. And I want to challenge that notion. I don't want to destroy it. I don't want to throw it out because I do think there's a lot of merit to it, but I want to challenge it. And the reason that I want to challenge it is because I see Jesus challenge it. And I see Jesus not do the conventional wisdom kind of thing where he takes care of himself before he takes care of someone else. And that's kind of the whole point of Christianity, is that it kind of flips things on its head. So I want to just ask a question. Who here is a Christian? I'm a Christian. If you're a Christian, put it up in the air. Oh, nice. That's good. Okay. Yeah. Are you sure? Keep it up. Are you sure? It's a lot of work. Okay, good. I see that you guys are sure. The reason I ask is because there was these two guys who they were real gung-ho about following Jesus. And hey, Fletch, if you want to go to the first slide, this is the first passage we're going here. Pull out your Bible. Is it on there? Oh, yeah. Go to page 875. It's Matthew chapter 20. This is great. Okay, Matthew chapter 20, verse 20 through what? 22. Good deal. It's actually more like 23. All right, when you get there, just look up at me. You guys there? Just a second.
I'm there.
You there? Okay, cool. Thanks, Isaac. Thanks. Okay, so these are people, they're going to follow Jesus. They want to follow Jesus so bad, they get their mom to come and tell Jesus something. It's great. Here's where it goes. Then the mother of Zebedee's sons, that's a weird way to say that, isn't it? The mother of Zebedee's sons approached him, being Jesus, with her sons. She knelt down to ask him for something. What do you want? Jesus asked her. Promise, she said to him, that these two sons of mine may sit on your right and the other on your left in your kingdom. And Jesus answered, you don't know what you're asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I am about to drink? We are able, they said to him. Are you sure? He said to them. We're super sure, they said. It doesn't say that, I'm saying that. We're super sure. We are able, they said to him. And he told them, you will indeed drink my cup. I got a cup. It's a cool prop. What's in this cup, guys? What's in this cup? What does it mean to follow Jesus? You know, because that's what it means to be a Christian, is that you're a follower of Jesus. It means you do what he does and you go where he goes. So let's look at that. Let's look at what is in this cup. We're gonna be bouncing all around Matthew right now. We're gonna explore is the second longest day of Jesus' life. You got the second one? Oh yeah, go to Matthew chapter 14. What page is that on? 868. Go to page 868. We're gonna look at, and guys, we're gonna look at this day. And I tell you what, raise your hand and shout out when you see Jesus go, gotta take care of myself first before I can take care of someone else, okay? So we pick it up in verse 13. It says, when Jesus heard about it, what did Jesus hear about? Let's back up. What Jesus just heard about is some truly terrible stuff. A truly terrible event happened where Jesus, he had this cousin who he loved. He grew up with him. His name was John the Baptist. John the Baptist's whole purpose of being alive was to tell the world that Jesus was coming. It was his lifelong friend. And what really sucks is that John the Baptist just got his head cut off. And if you don't know the story, go back and read it. It's a terrible, it's not a good death. There's some noble deaths out there. This is not a noble death. This is a terrible death. And Jesus hears about this. And what it says, when Jesus heard about it, he withdrew from there by boat to a remote place to be alone. And who can blame him, right? Is there a time to say, hey, I need a little me time? My friend just got his head cut off for a really terrible reason. I want to go be alone for a little bit. So he went to a remote place by boat to be there alone. And when the crowds heard this, they followed him on foot from the towns. And when he went ashore, he saw a large crowd, and he said, hey guys, not today. Go home. I need a day alone, man. My friend just got his head cut off. I need a little me time. I'll see you in the morning. Oh, wait, that's not what it says. That's not what it says at all. It said when he went ashore, he saw a large crowd. It said he had compassion on them, and he healed their sick. And when evening came, that wasn't, he was like, all right, 15 minutes. I got 15 minutes. Give me your sickest people. I'll heal them, but then I really got to be alone. He's like, evening came. He did this all day. He didn't stop. He taught and he healed them all day. When evening came, Jesus said, okay, I've been doing this all day. I'm hungry, you're hungry, there's no food, get out of here. Good job, we did a good job today. It was a full day. I need a break. All right, I still haven't even got to mourn my friend. It's time to take a nap, at least. Oh, wait, that's not what he said. What he said was, oh, you guys are hungry? Funny thing, I know how to work miracles. I'll feed all of you, all 20,000 of you. Don't even sweat it. I got food. Here you go. And he provides for them, and he gives 20,000 people food, and then he starts dismissing them after he feeds them. So Jesus feeds them, and then he sends them away, and then he sends his disciples across the water. He's like, you guys get in a boat, and you guys go, all right? It's been a long day, good work. You guys go to the other side. I'll meet you over there. I'm going to go pray to my Father. And this is the one time I think you go like, right? Like he kind of took a breath there. And that's good, because I think he needed this. He went and he talked with his Father late into the night, where I think he was actually able to process and mourn, and it was really, really good after he had already served all day like this. So then after he meets with his Father, it says that Jesus, he sees the poor disciples, and they're just rowing as hard as they can, but there's a really bad storm, they're getting tossed around, and they're really tired, and so he goes walking out there to them, and they lose their minds because they think he's a ghost, and he goes, relax, I'm not a ghost, and they say, oh, good, and then Peter, he's like, Jesus is walking on the water, I want to be like Jesus. Peter tries to walk on the water, he does a terrible job at it, he takes his eyes off of Jesus, he almost drowns, Jesus saves him, puts him in the boat. It's very emotional. Right? It's a very emotional night. If that was the only thing that happened that night, that would be, you'd need a break after that, right? Oh my gosh, what a long day. And then, we're coming up on 24 hours of nonstop of Jesus. Like he just still hasn't had time really maybe with his Father, but he's just been going for 24 hours straight, nonstop. And when they had crossed over, they came to the shore at Gennesaret. And guys, this was great. At the shore of Gennesaret, there was this Best Western with 1,001 channels and hot showers, these big old fat beds that they could just kick their feet up in and relax, take a well-earned nap. And so Jesus and his disciples chilled for the rest of the day, because man, if there was a time you needed to look after yourself, oh wait, that's not what happened. When the men of that place recognized Jesus, they alerted the whole vicinity and brought to him all who were sick. How many? All. Guys, this is Galilee. There's a lot of sickos here. This is a podunk place. That was an all-day thing, I guarantee you. They brought all their sick. Oh my gosh. And they begged him that they might only touch the end of his robe, and as many as touched it were healed. Yeah, I'm sure he took a power nap after that, you know? I would. But what does that look like for us, you know? Because I don't know about you guys. I don't have 20,000 followers. I have like 120 followers on Instagram, and it's very sad for them because I never post. But we don't have 20,000 people. That was a dumb joke, I'm sorry. We don't have 20,000 people who follow us around and be like, heal us, feed us. It looks different for us than it's gonna look for Jesus, right? It is. So what does that cup look like for us? When Jesus said, you are going to drink this cup. This is where I think it means. Fletch, go to the next one. It's Matthew chapter 25. Go to page 881. We're all over in Matthew. Okay. Listen to this. Okay. You guys there? 881. Matthew chapter 25, verses 34 through 40. This is Jesus. He's telling a parable about the people who have said, yes, I want to follow you. And he said, I'm talking to you guys right now. So verse 34. He said, then the king will say to those on his right, those ones who are his followers, he said, come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me. And then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or without clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and visit you? And the king will answer them, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. What does that translate to? This is where you can take your notes. It means anytime you see a need that you can do something about, you do it. That's what it means to drink this cup. There is so much need in this world. And what Jesus says is he says, if you see a need that you can do, you do it. It's like if someone is hungry, you have this crazy thing in your wallet called a credit card or a debit card, and you can go and swipe it and buy someone food and be, hey, here, I can do something about this. You're hungry? I can fill that void. Here is some food, right? Or that someone, they lose their home, right? They're terrible with their money, and they're in way too much debt, and they can't pay their bills, and they're like, I'm out on the street at the end of the month. And you go, well, actually, I have this crazy thing called a spare room. I just put all my junk in there. I'm gonna take my junk out, and I'm gonna put you in there instead, because you're not junk, right? You can do something about that. They can live there. I see a need, I'm gonna do it, right? Someone's having the worst day. You see this person and they're like this, and you're like, oh no, I go and ask them how they are. This isn't gonna be a quick, hey, how are you? Good. Walk out and you're like, this is gonna be 45 minutes at least. But you're like, oh man, I have this crazy thing called time and this crazy thing called compassion, which my God has given me. I can do something about that. You know, I can go and listen to them. Or let's say someone's 4 years old and their parents have abandoned them because they're terrible parents. You guys have this crazy thing called a home. You can come be part of my family. I got adopted into a family. His name is Jesus, right? He adopted me. I can adopt you. I see a need and I can do it, right? Because that's this cup. Because you guys know what Jesus saw? Jesus saw a need. He was like, everyone's going to hell. I can do something about that. I'm actually the only person qualified to do something about that. Put me in, coach. I'll take that one. I can do something about that. And you guys know what's nuts? This isn't even that radical. This is where my toes really started hurting, and I'm really glad I wore this. Go to Luke chapter 17, verses 7 through 10. It's on page 930. Listen to this. This is not a radical concept. This is bare minimum of what we're supposed to do as Christians. You guys there? All right, come on, go fast. I got a rhythm going. Sorry. Okay, this is what it says. It says, which one of you, having a servant, he's talking about your duty as a Christian, right? As a person who raised his hand, said, I'm gonna drink that cup. He says, which of you having a servant tending sheep or plowing will say to him when he comes in from the field, come at once and sit down to eat? Instead, will he not tell him, prepare something for me to eat? Get ready and serve me while I eat and drink. Later, you can eat and drink. And does he thank that servant because he did what was commanded? In the same way, when you have done all that you were commanded, you should say, we are worthless servants. We've only done our duty. Ouch. You don't even get thanked for it. That's tough. That's tough to hear. And guys, this is why I'm so glad we're talking about all these other rhythms. Because these other rhythms get us to the point where we can live this kind of life, right? The rhythm of solitude. You get alone with your Father so that he can say, this is why you're here on earth. so that you can live this sacrificial lifestyle and build others up, right? This is why you have this rhythm of community, because it's almost like you have these group of like-minded brothers and sisters who come alongside you and let you do more good as a group than you can do by yourself. It's why we have this rhythm of a Sabbath. Because if you are wrung out at the end of the week, you gotta go collapse and you gotta get recharged so that you can get back in the game and keep living that sacrificial lifestyle. That's why we have this rhythm of the gathering, so you can hear brilliant sermons like this one. That last one's just a joke. Right. Guys, these rhythms allow us to live the sacrificial lives that Christ has called us to live. They allow us to drink this cup. And let me tell you about this cup. It's awful. It's so bad, Jesus didn't even want this cup. Turn with me to page 903. It's Mark 14, verse 34 through 36. Oh, I'm already there. That was fast. Listen to what it said right here. So Jesus, we talked about the second longest day of his life, right? This is the long one. This is the big one. This is the hardest day of his life. He's at this garden. He's got his three best friends with him, Peter, James, and John. Pick it up in verse 34. He said to them, I am deeply grieved, the point of death. Remain here and stay awake. And then he went a little farther, and he fell to the ground, and he prayed that if it were possible, the hour might pass from him. And he said, Abba, Father, all things are possible for you. Take this cup away from me. He didn't want it because he knew what that cup was, and he didn't want it. But listen to what he says next. This is why he's the king. Nevertheless, not what I will, but what you will. Guys, this cup was hell. And let's just go into it. Let's go into this longest day, right? Because what happens right after this is this man that Jesus had been training and he had been close to. He had been so vulnerable with this guy for the last 3 years. He betrays him. He stabs him in the back for like $30. And then all of his friends, these guys who said, not I, Lord, no way am I going to abandon you. They all leave him. So he's alone. He doesn't even have any friends while he's going through this. And then he gets accused by the people who actually know better, right? These religious elites. These guys know who Jesus is, and they just ignore it, and they accuse him, and he gets laughed at by the people he's in the process of saving, right? They ridicule him, and they mock him, and they make fun of him, which just hurts. It says he gets beaten so bad, you can't even recognize him, right? He's unrecognizable. He gets strung up and crucified like a criminal, and he wasn't a criminal. That's gotta hurt. Like, not only is it one of the most painful ways to die, just that insult alone, that he's dying a criminal's death, the death that we deserved. And then the worst part is he gets judged by his dad. His dad looks at him, and he just hates him. He hates the sin that he is taking on, and he pours all of his wrath onto Jesus. And guys, I tell you what, if there's ever a time to go, I need a little me time, can I just take care of myself for a minute? This would be the time. Because of what he says. It's great. Up didn't work at all. Yeah. No, listen to what he says. Jesus is getting squeezed so hard. And he says, Father, can you just forgive them? Just wipe it clean. Forgive them. They don't even know what they're doing. Oh, man. It's almost like Jesus meant what he said, right? In Mark 10:45, where he said, the Son of Man didn't come to be served. He came to be a servant, poured out for many. Jesus meant what he said. So, church, I want to ask you, can we drink this cup? Now the band come up because we're almost done. I'm fast. Can we drink this cup? You guys know what Jesus said in John 15? He said, there's no greater love than this, that somebody lays down his life for his friends, for the people he loves. Right? That's what he did on the cross. He said, here's my life. I lay it down because I love you. He showed us the greatest act of love, and he asks us to do the same. He says, just as I laid my life down for you, I want you to lay your life down for me and for everyone else. I want you to lay your life down. Because at the end of the day, there is nothing of worth that we have to offer this king. Except for this. This is all you have to give him. That's what that part in your notes right there is. Just draw a picture of yourself, that little box. That's all you have to give him. It's just this. So church, I want to ask you again, who's a Christian? Because I still am. Put it up if you're a Christian. Let's act like it, huh? Let's live the lives that Christ has called us to, which is to live sacrificially. Just put others above yourself. If you see a need, you do something about it. So now as Christians, we get to do this beautiful thing. We get to go to the table and we get to remember what Jesus has done for us. So go grab, there's a little cup and there's a little piece of bread. Go and grab it and then come back to your seat. We'll do it all together.